Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining in today. So today what we have is I am going to try to learn Japanese. So in the last video, I was giving you a lot of stories about my trip to Japan and a lot of context to the things in my office that pertain to that trip. I feel like I've been very sentimental, especially this month, because it was about a year ago around this time that I was just getting back from Japan. It just started really kicking in. A year ago, I was in another country. That was a completely new experience. I've never done anything like that before. I went with my brother-in-law and my sister. I know I was really worried about the cultural differences. Will they like us? How big is the language gap there? And I know one of the biggest mutual concerns that we had was the train stations. Everything on the intercom is in Japanese. You have Japanese writing everywhere. Like, that was the assumption. I think it's safe to say that they were fairly easy to navigate as long as you knew what stop to listen for. There were words written out in our alphabet that, made it a little easier to decipher and listen. It wasn't too bad at all. The people in Japan were so welcoming and they were so forgiving, helpful. It was such a great community to experience. Everyone's so respectful, such a good culture. I think it's very, very positive. When we decided to go there, we did some preparation. We wanted to be respectful of the culture, so we kind of researched what the do's and don'ts are of that society, especially with dining. We also wanted to have a little bit of language under our belt as far as vernacular, like at least saying hello, goodbye, thank you, that kind of stuff. It's so interesting because the culture there, everything is so significant. The intricacies of daily life it's honestly beautiful. One of the things my sister got for our preparation and something to have on us when we were walking around was this Japanese phrase book. This really came in handy. As a little challenge, I would open it up and I said, okay, this is the phrase or this is the word that I'm going to memorize. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to use it. By doing that every couple days or so, by the end of the trip, I was able to use it without having to pull out my book and flip through it. Kind of got the hang of it. That's such a cool thing to say, I think. It also goes into culture and stuff like that. I was just using chopsticks, but I placed it on the top of the bowl because you're not supposed to stick them in your food or your rice. It's really bad table manners. When we were dining, whenever they served us the food, you're supposed to say itadakimasu, which is basically I humbly receive. It's a polite way of showing gratitude. You say oishii when something's very delicious. When you are finished eating, to ask for the check, you can say okanjo onegai shimasu, which means may I have the check please. Things like when you tie a robe, you have to tie it to the right side because if you tie it to the left, that's a funeral rite. Everything down to what shoes you wear in the house. Anyway, I know I'm getting on a little bit of a tangent. It's just so fascinating to me. Okay, we're reeling it in. So as I said, I did use this book, definitely stole it from my sister. We all decided at the end of the trip that there's no way we're not going back there again. So we're planning a trip hopefully in the next couple years if everything with the cough goes away. But with that being said, I thought it would be so fun to try my hardest at learning the language. Not necessarily becoming fluent, just taking the steps to try. I got this book and it comes with a free audio app. That will be something I will use in the future. It said 15-minute Japanese. And I was like, oh, learn Japanese in 15 minutes. There's absolutely no way. And I was right because it says learn in just 12 weeks, which theoretically that is not terrible. I'm pretty sure it's just a really basic understanding. The best way to learn any language, as far as I've been told, is complete immersion. So I don't really have a lot of experiences with languages. I've always wanted to learn Italian. You check out this little video right here. It's me singing an Italian aria. I love opera. I think opera is really fun. I think it's challenging and it's beautiful art. I always said that'd be so cool to go to an opera and just understand every single word that's coming out of their mouths. How cool would that be? I did study Latin for 4 years. I didn't learn how to speak it, but to read and translate. Anyway, back to Japanese. Japanese, what we came here for. My thought is it would be really fun to just flip through this book and see what it has, and if there's anything I recognize or what I can learn from it in about 15 minutes. We'll see, give or take. At first look, this book is already so cool. There's a little flap here, so when you get to a page like this, there's a little quiz, and it's the word and identifying. So if you use this flap, you cover up the answer, and then you can quiz yourself. It shows what it gets into specifically. At first glance, it's not just about learning words or common phrases, it's also cultural, and I think that's so important. For example, the first page of week 1, it goes into konnichiwa, which is saying hello, and it goes into the details of that greeting. The Japanese bow is famous. The lower the bow, the more respectful. Traditionally, there would be no contact of any form. I really liked the bowing. I think it's so respectful. Now with the cough, conversation is so muffled, especially when it's really loud or busy. You don't have to say it, but like in your mind, it's I'm bowing, I'm saying thank you, versus having to verbalize or shout through a heavy mass. Milo, do you mind? Meow! Milo! See what I have to deal with. Somebody wants attention. One of the things I noticed looking through, you have the characters and how to pronounce them. In this book, there's a page for pronunciation. IE is A, and then EI is A. I don't have that in this book, and I find that a little frustrating. I understand you do have an audio aid. However, I'm a visual learner, so when I see it spelled out like it is in this book, it is definitely way more helpful. I do appreciate this chart to help you learn the characters. Most of what we have to deal with in Spanish, or if you go to France, they have the same alphabet for the most part. But when you go to Asia, those characters are so different. When you look at something like that, it does not compute. I think I'll make flashcards to help me with this. Imagine reading in Japanese. Let's get into some pronunciations. We got an animal page! Yes! So we're gonna say all of these animals, so feel free to say them along with me. My 2 reference books. Cat is pronounced NEKO, 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 NEKO. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these right. Oh my gosh. Number 2 looks like TORI, which is a bird. Little birdie, little TORI. So fish is SAKANA, SAKANA, SAKANA. My money is on SAKANA. Let's go with that. A doggy, a little puppy is, oh gosh, Inu, hold on, Inu. Then Uma, guess what Uma is? You already saw the picture, so it's a horse. Okay, so I want to say this phrase because I think it's fun. Anata no neko desu ka? I think I said that right. Close enough. Is this your cat? Okay, this is fun. I really love to karaoke, and I have a group of my theater friends that I usually go with. It ends up being an awesome night. This is in the leisure and socializing week, which is week 12. The question that they have at the bottom is, do you want to go to a karaoke bar? Always. So speaking of theater, they have an example of kabuki. Kabuki is the traditional Japanese theater that they have. There's actually a video on YouTube. It's Star Wars kabuki theater. I watched the entire thing and it was mesmerizing. So if you're ever bored and you love Star Wars, try out the kabuki version. It's worth every second. This book is so cool. They show the conversation that these people are having and who's saying what. We learned about pets, so time to practice. So cat is NEKO, and the bird was TORI. I remember that. The dog was Inu, fish and horse. I don't remember. Sakana was the fish, and then Uma was horse. So that's not bad. I will accept those answers. Got 3 out of 5. That's a D. Ugh. On this page, it goes into the food. I'm trying to find words that stick out to me, like, oh, I remember that. Sushi, that's so important to know. Sashimi, raw fish. Nigiri, it has like the platform of rice and then the raw fish on top. I like nigiri. I like the tuna. That's like so good. Sake, oh, that sake is salmon evidently. Ebi is shrimp. So ebi tempura. Yum. Takoyaki, basically fried octopus. I think just taco is octopus. Yeah, T-A-K-O, taco. I don't know what yaki means. We're gonna try to find out. Tempura is fried. Maybe that's flaky fried, that crunchy fried, and maybe the yaki is more of the doughy fried. Unagi is eel. I remember that. So in Japanese restaurants, they sometimes offer soybeans as an appetizer called edamame. Come to find out that mame by itself is bean. That makes sense. Miso! Fermented soybean plantain paste. I did not know what that was. I didn't know miso soup was based on that. And then at the very end, they just have a dictionary where you can look up English words and then find the translation in Japanese. So this video did not really go as I had expected. I just was so excited about getting this book, and I was like, okay, well, we'll dive in, start speaking Japanese in 15 minutes, and clearly that did not happen. I might do an update if I like really dedicate time to this, actually know how to pronounce things and actually know what I'm saying. But I think it's still fun. At least for me, it's fun talking about Japan because that was such a good moment in my life. I'm sure you're so sick of hearing me talk about it. Maybe someday in the future, this inspires you guys to go. There's so much history. And what's so fascinating about all of that is it's been around for millennia. Our country is barely 250 years old, and you have this country that goes back thousands of years. There's so many things about that culture that have not changed, or at least they still pay homage to it. That's so beguiling to me. So if you guys have ever been out of the country, give me a story in the comments. I read your comments. I would love to hear from you. Maybe it'll inspire me to take a trip, and then I could do a travel vlog. That'd be so much fun. All right, guys, thank you for joining in for some silliness. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and to put on notifications. Looks like I'm uploading pretty consistently on Saturdays. I've been doing that weekly. Yay! Finally getting my life together. I have so much fun making these videos for you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay bright. Bye, guys.